trying to get the camera straight. Sorry if you're catching the replay. You can just, fast forward a few moments. Hey, Sarah. How are you doing?
I'm happy to be here.
Oh gosh. Sarah thought I said Siri. Siri thought I said... Whoops. Later, Siri. I'm good. Thanks. Okay, we'll move that. Hi, Lisa. Welcome. Hey, Lisa, by the way, I got your May Day package. Thank you so much. I'm super excited to plant the sunflowers. And thank you for the donation. That's definitely going towards the microphone that I've bought, and it's on its way now. So thank you. I appreciate it. We're obviously going to wait a few minutes. Actually, I haven't pulled tarot for tonight, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the tarot while we're waiting for everybody to sign in. And actually, I'm going to bring in a different candle for tonight too. Oh, I bet that does. I bet just because the way people say Sarah. I bet it does. Okay. What in the world? Some sort of weird... there's like weird funky gunk on my candle. Hang on just a second. I'm not even sure what that was, what was on there, but that's weird. All right, so I'm gonna pull the tarot while I'm waiting on everybody to sign in. We'll see what the tarot has for us tonight. By the way, if you're just getting signed on, let me know how you're doing today. How are you doing with this full supermoon energy that's rising up tonight? Full supermoon in Scorpio. Just looking up the tarot, by the way. Okay. Hi, everyone. If you're just getting signed on, I was just looking over the tarot that I just pulled. I'm going to grab a drink. I'm going to get everything set up for our circle, and we'll go ahead and get that set up while we're waiting on anybody else to sign in. Happy full moon day, full super moon in Scorpio. Let me know how you're doing today. Let me know if you need any guidance, if anything is coming through, if you have any questions. Feel free to keep this as an open chat. We're probably going to be together for about an hour. We'll be here till about 8 o'clock. And we're going to talk about the Vedic astrology of this full moon. We're going to talk about what this full moon represents. We're going to talk about the Western zodiac, the full moon in Scorpio energy as well. And we'll talk a little bit about the retrograde season that we're in and we're moving into more strongly over the rest of this lunar cycle. So if you have anything that comes through, feel free to share. But I'd love to know how you're feeling. How is this moon affecting you right now? How are you feeling, or how have you felt in the past few days? I am hot. I'm gonna go ahead and take this off. The sun's out right now and it's pouring in, and I do have the window open. It's probably gonna have a little bit of background noise, but I'm not gonna worry about it. We're in full moon energy. It's a heightened time of prana, so we'll just let that align with our circle. Hi, Katie, welcome. Okay, so while we're waiting on everybody to sign in and everybody's comments to come through about how you're feeling with the full moon, I'm going to talk about setting up our circle. So I always set up a moon circle, whether I'm doing this with my own personal ritual or whether I'm doing this online with you. By the way, this is our last Facebook Live moon circle. The next time we come together will be with the new moon in Gemini, and we're going to be doing that on my website. I'm hoping that I have a platform. I'm not going to Zoom. I never really wanted to. It's kind of choppy. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm hopefully launching my own website with its own platform to live stream directly from, and that's going to have exclusive content. So that's where you'll tune into me. And yes, that website that I'm gonna have will have an app with it. So it's not my app. It's not an app like for me, but it's an app for the platform that I'm using that kind of compiles everything together between like having a subscription service. So you're going to have more where you can actually subscribe monthly to me for like $13 a month. And you're going to get all kinds of yoga, meditation, astrology, moon scopes, stuff like that, tarot readings, exclusive content. I'm going on a digression here real quick, but it's okay. And then I'm also going to have just like all kinds of content on my website. I'm really trying to veer away and phase out of Facebook as much as possible when it comes to my business, and I'm trying to get that all on my website. So stay tuned for that, by the way. But speaking of online, so even when I do an online moon circle, I still set it up in ritual. So I bring in all 4 elements, and I'm going to say all 5 elements. We'll talk about that 5th element at the end. Lisa, you say you're tired. Yeah, I even find myself for the past like hour or so, I've been yawning a lot. So I'm feeling a little bit of that energy too. Hi, Bethany, welcome. So, okay, let's set up our circle. So I'm going to start today with the earth element. The first earth element I'm bringing in is this beautiful rainbow moonstone egg. So if you don't know this about me, I work with crystals, I work with gemstones, I work with essential oils, I work with the elements of the earth as much as possible. And I work with the alchemy of bringing those elements together. So we're going to start with this rainbow moonstone egg, and I'll just get nice and up close with it. We have been using this egg off and on for the past few moon circles that we've done online, but this represents that moon energy, and the egg represents new beginnings, represents fertility, the planting of the seed, and this really is a fertile moon that we're in. It's a very feminine moon. We're going to talk more about that tonight. But for now, rainbow moonstone egg. The other element, I'm just setting this off to the side, but it's still here in our space together. The next element I'm bringing in is Palo Santo. Now, again, we've been using this in quite a few of our circles, and I'm using this tonight because it represents death and transformation and the magic that lies within that. So if you don't know this about Palo Santo, it's not harvested fresh. It's harvested after the tree's been dead for several years. And after the tree dies, the resin that hardens inside, when you alchemize that with fire, our 3rd element, you begin to create a smoke, or the 4th element, wind, air, smoke. And this smoke is very cleansing. It has a sweet smell. I love the smell of Palo Santo, but it's very sacred. It comes from the rainforest, very holy, and it really represents the Mother Earth energy. So remember that on our new moon was on Earth Day, and we were also using the Palo Santo there. So we really want to connect to the Earth right now, you know, especially as we've slowed down. The Earth is really taking a beautiful reset right now. And as we start to move forward in the rest of this lunar cycle, you know, as energy starts to move forward, as things start to change, with new beginnings, and businesses open back up, tourism starts back up, we need to be more mindful of how we're connecting to the earth. So we're going to bring in this death symbology tonight of the Palo Santo, and also just that deep connection to the earth. And we'll get more to that in a bit. So finally, the element of water. Now, typically I use an essential oil. Tonight, I'm not doing that. Tonight, I'm bringing in what I'm drinking. I've got sangria. It was Cinco de Mayo yesterday, right? No, anything that represents blood right now can be really useful. So we're in the lunar cycle that contained the energy of Easter, okay, Jesus, the blood of Christ. There's typically a wine symbology with that. This is also representative of feminine energy. So the menstrual blood, the womb blood that is typically released around a full moon time. I'm curious how many of you, I don't think we have any men on here tonight, but how many of you women are bleeding right now? How many of you just bled, or you're getting ready to bleed, or you're bleeding right now? Most women bleed around a full moon. It's very natural. So anything that can symbolize that fertile blood, that symbology of the blood, can be a really beautiful element of water to bring into your circle tonight. You could also just have a glass of water. And speaking of water, this is a really good time to set water out underneath the moon to charge. So tonight and maybe the next like 2 to 4 nights, set out some water to charge, and then use that water however you feel. Mostly people drink it, but maybe you want to, shower or bathe in it. Maybe you want to use it in apothecary, combining it with tinctures, making your own oils. Maybe you want to combine it in something that you're going to consume like a soup, but find a way to utilize the water after you charge it with the full moon. Yeah, Bethany's known me for a really long time. You know me. Yeah, I'm having some wine tonight. You know what? It's been a long time in quarantine. I'm having some wine. And it's Mother's Day weekend coming up, so I'm celebrating that as a mom. And yeah, Heather, always at the full moon. Yeah, so this is pretty common. So you might want to find, if you're doing your own moon circle at home, Heather, you might want to find something that symbolizes blood. So earlier today, I did a private moon circle for an online group of sisters that I'm coaching right now, and I had like a blood orange soda. So, anything that symbolizes that blood you could bring in. When it comes to charging things under the moon, you could also symbolize that blood or the womb space through fruit. So you could set a fruit out underneath the moon, things like strawberries, apples, pomegranates, avocados, anything that kind of represents the fertile womb or a healthy womb, or anything that's red. You can charge that under the full moon and consume that as well. I'm bringing in some extra fire tonight. I've just got a simple candle here. It's white, and I'm going to light that up tonight. It's a soy-based candle, by the way, and it is unscented. It's just going to bring in some extra light. So we're in super moon energy right now. This means that the moon is closer to the earth than normal. And so it seems to be bigger, and it's brighter, it's more illuminated. So we're going to bring in some extra light into our moon circle tonight just to symbolize that. And I'm just going to kind of set that here below. And I don't know if you'll be able to really see the flame. You probably won't. Maybe I can bring it down a little bit. Maybe. No, it's not happening. That's okay. But it's right here. The flame is just right here. And we'll blow out this candle at the end of our circle tonight once we're done. Now, I mentioned the fifth element, right? Well, the fifth element is the ether. So it's how we're connected here together. So when I used this sacred smoke of the Palo Santo, not only did I smudge the space that I'm in, but I smudged the phone, I smudged the, connectivity cords here, I smudged the ether in the space that we're sharing together tonight, so that's cleansed. The ether withstands space and time, so even if you're catching the replay of this later, or if you go back and tune into this later, everything that comes through is just as potent and just as powerful. And it's really interesting. In fact, when you catch the replay, you're tuning into everybody that's already tuned into the transmission, so you're connecting on a deeper and larger grid every time you come back to the video, which I think is really cool. So with that, we've brought in all 5 of our elements, and we're just going to seal this with 3 sacred breaths. So I'd like you to find a comfortable place if you can, either seated, standing, lying down, whatever feels good for you. And then I do want you to take your arms and inhale, really scoop the energy up around you. Join your palms at the top. Exhale, pull them down your center, all the way down to your belly, and then place your hands down on your lower belly, down near your sacred womb space. We're going to do this 2 more times. Inhale, scooping up, open mouth, exhale. 1 more time, inhale. Maybe a little bit of sound this time. Shake it out. Close your eyes if you need to. Take a moment to move your body. Let that breath swirl down. Start to move your hips, your low back a little bit. Really feel a grounding end of your tailbone and your legs and your feet. And then if your eyes are closed, blink your eyes open. And let's just take a moment to soften through the lower body. So take a moment to really let go throughout your hips, your low back, and your legs, all the way down through your feet and toes. It's almost like they don't even need to move. This is really going to help you ground in. And of course, this is if you're seated. If you're standing, or if you can't do this right now, it's cool. You can come back to it later if you need to, or come back to this grounding practice when you need to. But then once those legs and that lower body's relaxed, begin to relax your shoulders, relax your jaw, and just let that relaxation move from head to toe all the way down, just letting go. During a full moon time, we are pulled up more to the cosmos. We're pulled up more to the moon. Gravity is weaker on the earth side, and we do feel lighter. We also feel heightened with our energy. We are in the energy of prana right now. That's the energy at the top of your breath. So if you take lots of inhales, in fact, if you let your inhale be longer than your exhale, and you do that for like 5 to 10 rounds, you might even get lightheaded or out of breath or dizzy or feel some weird sensations, and that represents that heightened prana. So most people know that full moons make you a little crazy, a little anxious, or maybe you seem like everybody around you is crazy and anxious. Got something on the back of me right now. Talk about feeling crazy and anxious. I'm like, is there a spider on me? There shouldn't be. All right. But it's a time of heightened energy, so you might feel a little panicky because when you breathe, when you hyperventilate, that symbolizes panic in your body. That's the feelings, the chemicals that are emitted in your body. It's a stress response, so you might feel more stressed right now. It's also a time when your emotions are heightened, so the moon represents lunar energy, right? But that also represents our personal lunar energy. So your womb space, your second energy center, your sacral chakra, represents your personal moon. It represents your feminine energy and how you process emotions. So of course, when the moon is super illuminated, super heightened, super full, your emotions might be super heightened and super full, and you might feel those waters slashing around right now, and you might really feel heightened. Oh my gosh, like something is really getting to me. It's probably just a hair. I gotta like handle this. What is happening? Live stream, right? Okay. So I have a little Buddha. I have the Buddha on my shirt tonight, by the way, because this is the celebration of Buddha's birthday and also his death day, or the day that he achieved enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. This is always with this full moon during this time. So I've got the Buddha on here as well. So okay, let's talk about this full moon in particular. So full moons tend to heighten the energy of the sign that they're in, and the full moon is always in the sign that's the opposite of the sun sign. So the sun sign right now is in Taurus, and the opposite of that is Scorpio. So we're in Scorpio energy right now with this full moon, and that means that typically the shadowy sides of Scorpio are really illuminated. Now, I'm just curious if there's any Scorpios on this transmission right now. Are you a Scorpio sun or Scorpio moon or Scorpio rising? If you are, let me know in the comments. If you have any Scorpio going on with you right now, or if you know anybody that's a Scorpio. So Scorpios have 3 archetypes, okay? So most signs just have like 1 or maybe 2 archetypes. Scorpio has 3. The first one is the scorpion. The scorpion is the low-lying Scorpion in the sand. It's very low. Even the sand is unstable. So this represents an energy that's really, really low frequency. And I want you to know, sisters and brothers, if you're here too, these low frequency energies are like the unstable sand, okay? They make us feel unstable in our body. When we're in our lower frequencies, we feel shaky, we feel anxious, we feel nervous, we feel unstable. And a lot of times that can really lead to physical dis-ease in the body. So this is a time that if you're feeling really, really low, like your lowest of the low, first off, know that you're aligning with the moon, but the moon rises and this energy is rising. These feelings are rising right now because they need to be released. They do not serve you. And especially right now when we're really focused on health and wellness and immunity, this is a time to let go of those things that are causing you that distress or dis-ease. So starting there, okay? And then the second archetype of Scorpio is the eagle. So the eagle is soaring and flying high. The eagle has like a bird's eye point of view, okay? They've looked back on the things that they've experienced on the earth. They've looked back at what they've gone through. They're seeing the bigger picture and they're soaring higher. So they've raised their frequency and they're not showing up to those things on the earth in the same way. In fact, it's almost like those things are little piddly little ant-sized things. They barely even matter anymore. So this can be a perspective you can start to embrace right now. Maybe you're alchemizing or evolving or transforming into the eagle energy right now from the Scorpio energy, or maybe you're feeling that eagle energy, but it's a time to really look back at your past. We're going to get to this in a minute. Look back at your experiences, look back at the things that you've been through, and really see what the wisdom is there, and not let those things affect you anymore. You're higher, you're better than that, you're vibrating higher, you're soaring above that. The third archetype is the Phoenix, and we're deep in Phoenix energy right now with this heightened full moon because we're deep in the fire. Remember, we've got this extra fire tonight. The fire of the sun is illuminating this full super moon. The Phoenix rises from the ashes from the fire. So when the Phoenix rises up, the Phoenix is transformed. The Phoenix is even beyond the eagle's hindsight. They no longer worry about the past. They no longer let things go. They've been rebirthed. They've been transformed. They've shedded away that old life, and they're now just going to fly on and move forward. Okay? So Scorpio represents the birth, death, rebirth, life cycle, this karmic cycle. So it's really a time to look at your karma, look at your choices in the past, look at the crossroads that you may be coming to again and again and again right now. If you find yourself in a pattern right now, this is because the same crossroads is coming up over and over for you to make the different choice so that you can finally move up and evolve. You can finally transform. So the Phoenix is going to represent a time to really not let the things in the past get to you. In fact, you're just going to let the old things die and you're going to begin to move on. Okay, let's shift focus for just a moment. Let's go to the Vedic side of things. And I've got some notes here because I just want to make sure that my notes don't go by the wayside. I want to make sure that I'm mentioning everything tonight. Okay, so I'm not an expert in Vedic astrology, but it's something I've certainly dove into. It was something I was looking into before I traveled in India, and especially after I traveled in India, I got super interested in it. The moon is represented by different, instead of signs like the Western zodiac, it's nakshatras or lunar mansions, constellations of the stars. And right now we are in the lunar nakshatra of Vishaka, okay? So Vishaka basically in Sanskrit means forked or branched. I mentioned this fork in the road, right? This crossroads. If you're finding this cyclical karma, this pattern, check out the other way, the way less traveled this time, right? Maybe take a leap of faith. It can also mean lightning. So if you're thinking about the branches of lightning, and in fact, it's represented or controlled by the deity known as Indra Agni. And this is an ancient deity that pretty much has to do with storms. So the alchemy of the sound and the fire coming together, or the wind and the fire coming together and creating this lightning and this powerful alchemical change. So this is a time when you can be truly focused and you can really be sparked with intuition. You can be sparked with creativity. You can be sparked with inspiration. You can be sparked with the desires of your own heart. You can be sparked with the motivation to truly start fresh and move forward and don't look back. Okay? So this is the time of catalyst, okay? This full moon, this full super moon. This is the last full super moon. I'm looking out my window. The full super moon that's rising up right now. This is the last of 4 super moons that have happened consecutively. And we're moving out of super moon season, and we won't be back into it until April of next year. So really what you're doing right now is going to create a ripple effect over the next 12 months. So it's a time to really go deep within and find the catalyst of your own inspiration, your own creativity, where you want to move forward from here, and kind of have like a no fucks given about your past and how that affects you anymore. It's time to just let that go. Okay, so that's a little bit about the Vedic astrology. I'm not really going to go deeper into that. Let me know if any of this is aligning with you, by the way. I'm curious to know. I'm going to grab a drink here. Okay, so all of the moons have different names depending on different traditions, and a lot of these are like Native American traditions. So this full moon, the full moons are different kinds. This full moon is known as the flower moon. Okay, so it's springtime here in North America. It's a time of blossoming. The flowers are growing, the trees are budding, everything is coming up out of the earth. That earth day, that new moon, the Taurus new moon, everything's rising up out of the earth now, out of the darkness, out of the uncertainty. I think about my lilies outside in front of my house, you know, towards the fall and the winter as things started to die. I thought, man, like things are so dead, like how will they ever come back, you know? And even recently as I started to cultivate out in my front yard and prepare my flower beds for the new growth that's coming, I thought, man, there's a lot of like dead leaves and there's a lot of buildup and mud and muck, and how can these things ever come up out of the ground? I don't know. But sure enough, for like the 4th year in a row, they're popping up out of the ground right now, and the lilies are really starting to grow, and I'm sure they're gonna bloom pretty soon as well. So this is a great full moon to represent that rising up, right? This full moon rising, representing the flowers that rise up out of the darkness. And you too are rising up out of this darkness. Gosh, we've been in such an uncertainty right now, right? Like everybody's been in the darkness. They've been in their shadows. They've been at home. They've been hermits, been quarantined. But how do you want to come out of this, right? So like this is the big message that's coming through right now from the universe. It's how do you want to come out of this time of pregnant pause, of ultimate reset? All the babies are being born right now, right? Like the baby birds, the baby owls, the baby bunnies, everything's hatching, the baby ducks, everything's coming out right now. And how do you want to hatch out of this? Birthed anew. Remember, this is rebirth time with the Scorpio new moon, or sorry, Scorpio full moon. So take time right now to think about the seed, and as the seed starts to grow up, and as that seed starts to blossom out into a flower, and the process that it takes, or think about the tree, you know, how long it takes the tree to get strong enough to grow and grow and grow. Yet every year, no matter what damage happens, no matter if it's struck by lightning or chopped in half or has some sort of damage or bends or twists or breaks, it continues to come back and blossom and grow for the most part, right? So we're in that energy right now, and you're the seed. Your intentions are the seed. The dream that you have for yourself is the seed. The vision that you have of your identity as you want to move forward. That's the seeds. So come out of this and blossom and let go of the muck and let go of the past and let go of what was happening before the quarantine. Let go of how your life was. Let go of who you were socializing with, right? Like this has been a total reset on social scene, right? Social circles. But let go of those people, places, things, energy that might have been holding you back from the true identity that you actually want to express. If you were blossoming and blooming at your fullest expression, who would be in your life? What would you be doing? Where would you be putting your energy? Where would you be going? That's how you want to come out of this full moon. So we're halfway through the lunar cycle. We've got 2 more weeks. These 2 weeks are a really good time to contemplate this message. Okay? This is also known as the corn planting moon, so talking about that actual seed that gets planted into the soil. It's a really great time to actually garden or plant a flower bed. If you're interested in, getting really in touch with the earth, digging your hands into the earth. Full moons are heightened prana, right? So anything that you can do to ground is really useful right now. You can simply like smudge and connect to like some earth energy. You connect to your crystals and gemstones. When you connect to even the water, because it's coming from the earth, you're kind of grounding in as well. So that charged water that you set outside. Also make sure to set out your crystals and gemstones to charge in the moon if you'd like, or cleanse in the moon. But also like deep relaxation, these seated postures that we've done tonight. Anything that really helps you to balance with the heightened prana, anything that you can connect to the earth and ground in, that's going to help you to feel more stable at this time. This moon is also known as the milk moon. So that's another name. Okay, we're going to talk about retrograde season. I'm going to check the time here. We're doing great. Perfect. 7:30. We're going to talk about the retrograde season that we've been in and that's coming up. And then we're going to do a tarot reading. Feel free to put anything in the comments. Hey, Christine. Welcome. Christine said absolutely aligning. Themes, forked road, increasing frequency, leaving patterns. Fantastic. It's crazy how each of these moons brings the same heightened prana, like the same kind of sensations, but each one, depending on the sign we're in, depending what's going on in the cosmos, otherwise, really affects the energy differently on how we feel. So that's interesting insight. Christine, thank you for sharing. I'm going to grab a drink. I'm going to take a deep breath, and then we'll talk a little bit about the retrograde season right now. By the way, this is my husband's idea, not mine. And this is my first glass. I got it at Aldi. I never buy Aldi wine, but I was there, and actually my husband either wanted a coffee or a sangria. Starbucks was already closed, so I saw a sangria on sale for like $5, so I got it. It's pretty tasty. Okay, so let's talk about retrograde season. How many of you are familiar with retrogrades? We are not going through a Mercury retrograde, and that's not coming up, but we did go through one of those, in March, right? Yeah, March time. So a few months ago we had a retrograde. There'll be another one coming up soon, but we're not in it right now. We're in a Pluto retrograde, and that's been going on for about a week or so right now. So Pluto rules Scorpio, and we're in a Scorpio full moon. Pluto is the planet of control and power. Okay, so let's think about just Pluto in general, right? Some people say Pluto is a planet. Some people say it's not anymore. 2 schools of thought, right? Pluto's in a big power struggle. Big control issues. Hey, I am a planet. No, I'm gonna not be a planet. I'm gonna let you other planets do their thing. Hey, I want to be a planet. No, I don't. Power struggles, control issues, okay? So anytime Pluto is in retrograde, we're seeing the shadow sides of this energy. So we're seeing the shadow sides of Scorpio right now. Remember how I talked about those low frequency energies in the sand? So if you're feeling really shadowy, if you're feeling really dark and moody, if you're feeling really low, these are actually really normal energies for the Pluto retrograde. The key is when you feel like the whole world is out of control around you, when you feel like you've lost control inside, when you realize that maybe you don't have hold of your own emotions, that's the time to flip on the switch and embrace your power and know that you're always in control. Remember how I mentioned the breath earlier, that when your inhales are longer than your exhales, it causes you to create a sensation of hyperventilating. That hyperventilating makes you feel panicky and anxious. What about if you switch that? What about instead if you let your exhales get longer than your inhales? In fact, let's just try this. Let's try this for 4 rounds. Take an inhale, let your exhale be longer. Do it again, however you want to breathe. I'm going to do a little open mouth on these last 2. And on this one, I'm even going to hang out at that pause at the bottom. Notice how you feel. Do you feel more calm? Do you feel more peaceful? Do you feel more passive? You have the power to control how you feel. It's as simple as tuning into your breath. Now, maybe the breath is not the thing that's working for you, and that's okay. Focus on grounding. Remember, we talked about deeply relaxing into a comfortable seat. If you're standing, stand barefoot on the earth outside or in the grass. Go for a walk barefoot if you can outside. If you can't go for a walk barefoot inside, that's cool too. But try your best to connect your feet to the earth. You can lay your whole body down on the ground. Your root chakra, your earth chakra, your grounding chakra is not only your tailbone and your legs and your lower body, it's also all of your vertebrae. So if you can get your whole spine down to the earth on your back and just relax, that can really help you to flip that sensation of panic and help you to feel more peaceful. You could also sit with your back up against a wall and just feel the support of the wall behind you, feeling your entire spine pressed against the wall if you can access that, if that feels comfortable for your body. So there's lots of different ways that you can create the sensation of grounding just with accessing your body in different postures or breathing in a different way. I'm sorry, there's like a puppy and it's whining and it's distracting me a little bit. I have something else that I want to say about this, but I need to take a few deep breaths so I can clear my mind. And I might even have to shut that window. We'll see what happens. I'm going to see if I can just Reiki and clear. Feel free to take some breaths with me. I'm just going to take a few more. How powerful for our circle. So for those that don't know, I'm going to blink my eyes open now. I'm a second degree Reiki practitioner. So I work with energy healing and transfer energy. I was really feeling some tingling in my hands. It's how I know the energy is transferring. And you want to talk about taking control and taking control of your power. Well, I know that I have the power of this energy transfer, and I know that I have the power to clear out negativity and to clear out distractions and to bring in more harmony and peace. So I was just taking a moment to do that, and look at how that, like instantly it stopped. It's magical. Okay. Okay, so the breath and the body, and we're working to take that grounding energy, and we were talking about connecting into the earth and letting go of those anxious feelings and balancing out that prana and taking it back your power. Yes, okay, I knew it was going to come back. It takes me a moment sometimes. I channel the whole time I'm here, by the way. If you don't know that about me, that's what I do. I just channel what comes through. I don't plan this. I just open up to the universe and it comes through. Veena means voice of the divine or voice of the goddess. I was blessed and given the spirit name in India 3 years ago, and I'm really embracing it now. So I've just been channeling. So I had to come back to that channel for a moment when the earth side was distracting me. So, okay, I'm back. Emotional alchemy. Transferring these low frequency feelings. I'm huge on emotional alchemy. This is another way to take back your power. When you're feeling bad, I don't like to use the words bad and good, but let's just call it what it is, bad. When you're feeling crappy, when you're feeling low, crappy, shitty, it eliminates into the earth, right? When you're feeling low and you're feeling down, during those times, how do you shift that? How do you take control of your emotions when you feel like your emotions are out of control? You just change it a little bit. You find a way to feel just a little bit better. Just a little bit. So maybe you take some breath work, maybe you do some body work practices. Maybe that's not enough. Maybe you do a little retail therapy, go shopping. Maybe you eat some chocolate. Maybe you have a glass of wine and you don't feel guilty and you don't feel shameful for it. Find ways to make yourself feel better. Hang out with somebody you love. If you don't want to hang out with them one-on-one, do a video chat, do a call, do a text. Hang out with animals, hang out with children, bring more joy into your life. This is not my own thing. This is something from Abraham Hicks. If you've ever followed Esther Hicks or Abraham Hicks, I talk about the emotional scale. And I've really been tapping into this lately because, man, have my emotions been a roller coaster during this time? I'm going to be honest. I haven't been that stable. In fact, this past week, I had to tell some clients that I wasn't available for Reiki or yoga privately online. I've been doing online sessions. Just because I've needed to take some time and take a step back because I was feeling myself getting really shaky. And so I've really been balancing out my emotions using this scale. So it's just a matter of feeling a little bit better. You know, can you find one step up from the shitty emotion that you're feeling and feel a little bit better? And for me, there's a couple of things I always use. Number one is gratitude. I always try to find a way to be grateful when I'm feeling low. And that will almost always make me feel better. And the other thing I try to do is I try to make myself feel good. So I find some way to kind of enhance my sacral center, engaging in some sort of pleasure. Maybe I have some chocolate. Maybe I make love with my husband or myself. Maybe I buy myself a crystal that I've really been wanting. Lots of different ways to tap into that. But there's ways to make yourself feel just a little bit better. Okay, so this is another way that you can really take control of your power during this Pluto retrograde, during a time when things might feel uncertain. You flip the switch. So your feelings can go through a life, death, rebirth cycle, right? So your feelings have a way that they affect you. And then the next time they come around, they affect you differently. And then 10 years later, they affect you differently. And when you have that eagle's eye view, they affect you differently. Okay, so that's what you're working on here, just letting things affect you in a different way. So let's move on. There's going to be 3 more planets that are going into retrograde in the next 2 weeks as we finish out this lunar cycle. The first one is going to be Saturn. Saturn is also a planet of karma. It is the planet of karma. If you've ever heard of your Saturn return, this happens about every 7 years of your life or so. And it's usually every 7 years or so that you go through a big shift in your life and there's a big lesson that comes through. So during retrograde, it's a time to look back on your past, the times that you made big shifts, the times that you made big redirections, or you had those forks in the road, those crossroads, and it's a time to see the wisdom and the lesson that was there. It's kind of aligning exactly with what we're going through right now. Venus is going into retrograde. Venus is the planet of love and relationships. So things might be a little backwards in your love life, in your relationships, in your marriage, in your partnerships, in your friendships, in your social scene. You might find things be a little upside down and never as they were before. If you are looking for love right now, you might find that old flames arise, old past lovers, or you might find that this is a time where you just don't feel the sensation to be outward and social and dating. You might be more focused on loving yourself instead, focusing on that self-love. Venus is also the planet of connectivity, creativity, abundance, and wealth, finances, money, those sorts of things. So remember, this is a time when we're really heightened in our moon energy, our sacred center, sacral center. This is the place where creative energy flows. So it's a time when your creative energy is really heightened. Remember that lightning strike, that catalyst, that divine inspiration, that might be coming through right now, or as this Venus retrograde starts to happen here on the 13th. Just got my notes here. So from the 13th onward, you might find that you're really tuning back into some divine inspiration. When it comes to your wealth, your finances, money, or abundance in whatever way you feel, and maybe it's just health. During retrograde times, you're taking a different perspective. You're looking back at the times that were more shadowy, and you're finding the wisdom and seeing how you can make a shift and move forward. We also have Jupiter going into retrograde. Jupiter is the planet of growth and expansion. It's a big, giant planet. Big gassy planet full of air. Air is knowledge. So as you look back at all these things during this retrograde season, as you reflect, as things come to the surface, as memories and feelings and emotions arise, how can you use all of this as fertilizer to grow the flower full moon? And let's just be honest, how do you take the shit the shit from your life? Okay, I'm sorry if there's children around. Shit from your life. Well, shit is fertilizer and it's manure, and it has a purpose, and it has a positive purpose in your life. So all the shit that you have gone through has a positive purpose now to help you bloom and rise up and rise above and blossom and grow and flourish and let your beautiful flowers continue to blossom. Okay. These retrogrades are going to last until September. So they're lasting through the end of summer. Okay. So whatever you're doing with this full moon, kind of the steps that you're taking throughout this next 2 weeks, this lunar cycle, they're really going to propel you forward throughout the spring and the summer season. In other words, in September and October, when we reach harvest season, when we reach the fall, what are you going to reap from the seeds that you sow right now, this corn planting moon? What seeds are you going to plant right now that you can reap the bounty of in the fall? So I think there's a really beautiful lesson here about patience and about taking things a little bit at a time, and one breath at a time, and one day at a time, and slow and steady, and not to be overwhelmed, and to trust the process. You know, it takes a whole year, or sometimes, you know, close to 6 to 10 months for those plants to cycle through and come back up out of the ground. You know, my lilies take months and months in between before they come back up out of the ground, and I'm always like, I don't know if they're going to come up or not, and it's always a fun surprise, and they do. So trust the process, trust the journey, and trust all of the things that you're going through right now, because it's all divinely aligning you to where you want to be if you can trust and continue to rise higher than those lower frequency energies that want to pull you down. It's a practice. It's always a practice. Okay, let me know if you have anything else that wants to come through for you. Any questions, any comments? I'm going to grab a drink and we're going to talk about the tarot. So this is a really potent moon, if you haven't figured that out already. It's a really powerful moon, and I'm really feeling it. And by the way, if you didn't hear my little announcement at the beginning, make sure that you stay around at the end of this transmission. I'm going to talk about my website and how we're no longer going to be doing moon circles here on Facebook. Okay. So I always pull a tarot for our moon circles. And I always pull 3 cards just to kind of see the message that's coming through right now. And I'm going to have my notes out here as well, because I pulled these right at the beginning, and now I've already I've had so much come through, I've kind of forgotten what's going on. Okay, so the first card that came through is the Six of Pentacles. Beautiful little pyramid there. Talk about rising above, right? So you got that foundation, and then you're rising above all the way to the top. You're growing like a mountain. You're growing up towards the stars, towards higher cosmic consciousness. And you do that out of the earth. So you've got this red. This represents earth chakra or root chakra or the earth itself. So you're really grounding in right now and growing out of that. You're really rooting in and letting that fertilizer help you to grow. So really cool that that card got pulled tonight. The number 6, I don't really have anything that's coming through necessarily from that. But when I think of 6, I think of Sept, and September is coming up at the end of the retrograde season. So this is a time of saying we're going to be growing over the next spring and summer, and we're going to be reaping the bounty of whatever grows at the end of those seasons when it comes to harvest time. Pentacles always represent abundance. The Six of Pentacles also represents an abundance of some sort of cash flow or equity, or it might just be, it doesn't have to be like actual money and wealth. It can be some sort of support in a different way. So some sort of emotional support that might be coming to you. There might be people or connections coming into your life that are going to be really valuable to help you grow with your wealth and abundance in whatever way that is. Maybe you're just working on your health and you find the connections that you need for that. But whatever you need to start growing to feel more abundant, you're going to start getting the fuel and the support to help with that. You know, a lot of us are getting our economic stimulus checks right now. And obviously, you know, if you have the expenses that needs to go to, go ahead. But if you, you know, have it as extra money, maybe it starts to fuel a business venture or a project or some sort of divine inspiration that you've had that you've needed a little bit of money to spend towards in order to get that energy going. So the Six of Pentacles came through first. And then, let me get the second one here. So the second one we have is the Queen of Cups. And she's all about intuition. Excuse me. So she's, you know, sitting on her throne and she's got her cup, and her cup represents, you know, the energy of, well, let me go back to this. So last night I taught a class where we did lunar salutations, and we cup our palms. We imagine that our palms are water and they're absorbing the energy of the full moon. This is kind of what energy is coming through with this card. You know, right now we're the cup, or you can get a cup of water and put that water out and drink from that water, but you're really at a time of absorbing what's coming through with this full moon, the knowledge, the wisdom, the messages. And then this is also a time, full moons are always a time when the veil is very thin between astral travel, between the dream world. So you might have really interesting dreams right now, or really interesting meditations. I've had some powerful meditations this past week. I mean, like, talk about like death and rebirth in the meditations. It's been really interesting, and the same with my dreams a little bit. But this is a time when a lot of intuition can come in and insight can come through with your dreams. Notice that she's kind of like in this curtain that looks a little bit like a theater, right? So life is all a dream. Notice how everything is playing out in front of you, but really pay attention to the actual physical dreams that come to you when you're sleeping, the things that come through in your meditative states, and also really start to believe in the energy and the fueling and the spark of your dreams starting to come into reality. Okay, Queen of Cups. And by the way, she's a green dress. Green represents your heart energy, so your heart's desire. That's what we're following right now. And then finally, we have the Queen of Swords. Now, this is interesting because the Queen of Swords came upside down. And I mentioned that we're a bit in the upside down world right now, right? We're moving into this retrograde season, and typically the third card represents the future. So it makes sense that the upside down card came for our future card for the rest of this lunar cycle. Swords also always represent kind of a slicing away, a letting go, a warrior samurai energy, like taking back your power, taking back your control. We just talked about this. Full moons, the full moon is always a time of letting go, represents that full fire. Fire burns things away. It turns them into ash, so you can rise out of that ash like the phoenix. So this is a time of ultimate release. The Queen of Swords also represents relationships that no longer serve you, relationships that are currently bringing you down, or relationships that will betray you if you don't take control and set boundaries around or sever and cut the cord from completely right now. I'm interested if this is touching anybody. Do you have anybody? I have somebody that's coming up in my life right now, actually. Interesting. I'm interested if you have the same thing. Is there anybody in your life right now, a person, or is there like a job or something else that you need to cut a cord from? Maybe it's a memory, but especially a person. Do you have anybody right now that you feel like that person's like not totally there for you, like unconditionally? They don't love you unconditionally, like there's some sort of condition under it, or there's some sort of way that you feel like maybe they're using you, or they're going to betray you or lie to you. Do you have anybody that's part of like a professional venture or a business venture, or maybe they're trying to help you maybe grow and get ahead, but you're not certain about that, you're feeling weird about it? Is that for anybody right now? Okay, those people, they're from your underworld. They're from that past life of this life that you're living right now. They're from your past. It's time to sever that cord. It's time to sever that relationship. It's time to set a boundary. It's time to move on. It's time to rise out of that. Okay, Heather says yes. Okay. So this is the energy that's coming through right now, okay? These are the tarot cards that are coming through. I don't have anything else. So there you go. By the way, this cross of the swords on the card can represent the number 10. Remember that these retrograde seasons will be over in September. So as we move into October, there's going to be a big shift again. When we rise up out of the underworld, out of the upside down, out of the retrograde season, when we start to move forward again, we can make a big shift if we really listen to this message that's coming through from the universe right now, if we make those changes. Okay, loves. We're almost right on the dot, 7:58. I feel like I had something else that was going to come through, so I'm going to take a moment with it. But if you have anything that's coming through, feel free to comment, feel free to share, let me know. If you have any questions, if you need any guidance on anything, let me know. I'm happy to stay another 10 minutes or so to talk if that's what we need to do. I'm going to take a few breaths. I'm going to see if anything else is going to come through tonight from the universe, and then we'll seal our circle if nothing else is there. And I hear a siren, so we're probably just going to let that siren go by as well if it comes through. And I'm feeling a lot of heat right now, so I know there's a lot of fire building within all of us in this circle right now. I'm really feeling that heart's desire, that heart energy. It's warm. Okay. I think the siren went the other way. So the final thing that's coming through is how to go forward with this full moon. So you can have your own ritual from here, your own ceremony. Christine said you felt my Reiki. Amazing. So by the way, I will get back into distant Reiki sessions. I love doing online sessions. They can be really magical because it's kind of fun because you go, I don't know. Even myself, I go into Reiki sessions sometimes like, do I really got it? but I do. I got it. Always comes through. It's always magical. I will get back into doing sessions, but it's probably going to be more towards the end of this month or June. So if you are interested in a session, stay posted. I will have those. Okay, so you can have your own full moon ritual. Tomorrow, the full moon's going to be in its fullest expression at 5:45 in the morning Central Time, so you can use the energy tomorrow. You can also do your moon in the next like 2 to 3 days. Super moons are felt about 4 or 5 days after their fullest expression. Regular full moons are felt about 2 to 3 days after their fullest expression, and also before as well. So if you don't do it tonight, if you don't do it tomorrow, try to take some time with this full supermoon energy and really embrace the power of fire and earth, okay? So with the fire, a couple of things that you can do. Well, number one, you can write down everything that no longer serves you. Maybe it's just the name of that person that you need to change that relationship with, right? Maybe it's those feelings that keep pulling you down. Write the name of that feeling. For me, it's been a feeling of loneliness. It's been a feeling of like misunderstood is the word that's coming through. Another word is fearful. Another word is anxious. Another word is untrusting. These are all words that I've experienced coming through, and I'm ready to release those. So you could write down the names of the words that you're ready to release, but you could write down whatever you want to release, and then you can burn it in a fire. Please practice fire safety practices. Try to have a fire outside. If you can't have a fire outside, be careful about the fire you have inside. You can also build a fire. You could use the candle of a flame. You could speak those things into the fire. And as the fire goes out and that smoke goes out, it alchemizes and it goes into the wind. In fact, my flame just went out here. But we're releasing in that way as well using the fire. You could speak into a big fire. You could yell into a big bonfire, whatever you want to do. The other thing you can do is embrace the power of earth. So you could write down again on the piece of paper, you could bury it in the ground, or you could rip it up into shreds, turn it into something else, and bury it into the ground. You could take the ash from your fires and bury them in the ground. So there's a lot of ways that you can connect to the earth energy. You could also get your feet deep into the ground and imagine yourself just sinking down, releasing tension and letting it all go into the earth. You could do a forward fold, dumping out your mind, dumping out your thoughts energetically to gravity of the earth, letting the earth take it. The earth is a mother earth. It's a mama energy. She's nurturing. She's here to support you. She's here to take it from you. Lie on the ground in corpse pose, that shavasana, completely relax, completely let go. You can speak it into the earth. You could get down low and yell it into the earth. You could drum it into the earth, but there's a lot of ways that you can also connect to that earth energy during this full moon. But I want you to focus on release, okay? Whether you're releasing into the earth, whether you're letting go into the earth, maybe you take a seed, maybe you take some seeds, whatever seeds you're called to, and maybe you speak those things that you're ready to release into those seeds. And then maybe you plant those seeds in the ground and you imagine what they're going to blossom into and you just alchemize it. Maybe you get some manure or some fertilizer and you speak those things into that and you use that to fertilize the seeds that you plant that have your dreams and your intentions spoken into them. There's a lot of different ways you can do this. I want you to tap into whatever you're called to, but this is a beautiful way to honor this full spring supermoon in Scorpio. Okay, sisters, brothers, this is what's coming through to me. I'm going to hold space just a few more minutes if anything wants to come through for you, if you need to express anything. I will take a picture of these tarot cards and I'll put up the reading, and it's not going to happen right away. I've got to go tend to my son downstairs, but I'll probably get it up later tonight or tomorrow morning. It'll happen at some point. I tend to do my best work in the middle of the night while I'm nursing my child at 3 a.m., the witching hour. Okay, my connection tapped for just a moment there. Okay, I don't think we have anything else. As long as you don't have anything else, I'm going to take a few minutes to tell you what's coming with Vina Lene and with our moon circles, and then we'll finish if no other chats come through. So I'm really diligently trying to phase out my energy on Facebook. I'm not feeling good about where this company is headed, to be honest. And their policies and procedures don't 100% align with my values and my beliefs. Now, does that mean I'm not going to use Facebook? Well, I don't really know. I might just be copying content onto Facebook. But when it comes to my lives, as far as the live new moon and full moon circles, any other cosmic transmissions we do, like things about the retrograde season, anything else that comes through, I'm going to be moving it to my own personal website. So it's not going to be a Zoom. Fingers crossed it all works on my website. I should be able to live stream directly from the platform. There is an app connected with the website, so you'll be able to use an app from your smartphone and tune into everything on my website from there, including the lives. I don't know how that'll work with your smart TVs, but there will be an app. And then that's also where a lot of my live yoga and my meditations and my recorded content and exclusive content is going to go. So anything about the moon, anything about astrology, anything about crystals, gemstones, essential oils, vegan recipes, vegan lifestyle, anything about yoga, meditation, and then my online programs like my core and pelvic floor rehabilitation programs, my fertility program, Baby Magic, my manifestation program, all of the things that I'm going to be developing, those are going to move to my website and my online platform. So that's where I'm headed, and our next new moon circle in Gemini will hopefully, trusting, having faith in the unknown right now, hopefully will be on that platform. So I'll probably have some sort of trial or something, but it's going to be about $13 a month to have a subscription to things. And then of course there'll be separate prices for the online programs. I'm going to run specials and all that fun stuff, but I just kind of wanted to keep you in the know of what's coming up with me. And yes, that domain is vinalene.com. I don't have the website live yet, so it doesn't do you any good to go to it yet. Nothing's published, but it is going to be coming up soon. So stay tuned, keep following me. I'm going to let you know when that's announced. So fingers crossed in the next 2 weeks, it's going to be going strong. Okay, let's seal our circle with 3 deep grounding breaths, really letting go of tension on your exhale, and then we'll seal our circle tonight. Let's inhale, sweep those arms up ahead. Exhale down to the heart, down to the belly, all the way down to your womb. 2 more. Maybe with sound, up to you. So tomorrow, if I'm still feeling called to do so and I have the space and energy, I am going to be doing a breath work practice, and I'll be putting that up on YouTube. If you want to do some breath of fire, we're going to learn how to do that. We're also going to do an Ujjayi breath. So actually, I think I'm feeling called to do 2 pranayama videos tomorrow. So if I can get that up tomorrow, that's going to be tomorrow. So try to tune in. I'll let you know. Those will go on my YouTube, but I'll put them here on Facebook. Okay, full supermoon blessings, love, blessings to all of the seeds that you're planting, your intentions, your dreams, blessings of peace and ease and the release of what you need to let go of. It is all coming in harmony. It is all coming to help you feel more balanced. It is all coming to help you feel more evolved. It's all coming to help you rise higher. And so it is. Namaste.